Hey team, today I am taking on this challenge. This is the NFT preview card from Frontend Mentor, like a lot of my other videos. You'll notice that it has some really cool hover effects, really nice colors, and the entire thing is completely responsive. So today we're going to work through this together. I'm going to close this one down because I actually have it downloaded and ready to go. You should do that as well. Download the assets. And if you have a pro account, which you definitely should, highly recommended, then you will also have access to the Figma file, okay? Something else up there, not needed, but the Figma file for all of the measurements, okay? So jumping right into it, I already have that code open and ready to go. And I'm just going to start cleaning things up. So again, the attribution, we don't need that. I'm going to get rid of this right here, add in our CSS, just so that we are squared away there. And now I can start adding my markup. So this first part, equilibrium 3429, that is our heading, right? But I don't think it's the main heading of the page. I think that it's just an H2, honestly, okay? Inside of here, we should also wrap this in a link. It's going to be a link later. So let's go and do that. That's going to be right here, and we will make it the number sign just for the second, which lets us have a link, right? That's the important thing. The next part, this is just a paragraph, so we can wrap that up in a P tag. Brilliant. And then here we have some information, okay? On the one hand, we have a date, right? It's a date in the future, but it's still a date. And on the other, we have a price. It's Ethereum, could be Bitcoin or anything else, but we have a price. So the first one, we're going to use a tag that maybe you weren't aware that it existed, but here it is. It is called data. And the idea of data is that it gives you the opportunity to supply a machine readable number or a machine readable piece of information so that other systems can process it. Okay, in this case, we would want to go 0.041, just like this. Okay, we leave the ETH off because that doesn't really supply any useful information here. Okay, and in theory, you would get that a different way. Down below, we can also do this. We are not going to use date. We are not going to use data. Sorry. Instead, we are going to use time. And inside of time, we have date time, okay? Now, in here, you would normally put a date like 2025, something like that. But you can actually do dates in the future, okay? Or date ranges as well. And what that looks like is it starts with a P for period, right? They have it as period. And then you set your date. And there's lots of information on MDN if you're ever looking for this, but we just go 3 days. So it's a period of plus 3 days, okay? 3 days in the future, just like that. From here, we can wrap it up, okay? Because of how special this is, I'm going to put it in a paragraph as well, okay? But I'm going to set it to price, okay? I'm not sure if price is the right name here because we have the price and then we have the date, but price is what I'm using today, just like that. And I want to wrap each of these in their own span, okay? And the reason for that is, well, let's do it first, okay? So here's a span, but we have an image for each of these, okay? So here's image number 1. It's going to be /images Ethereum, okay? Could we do that as inline SVG? Absolutely. But today I'm just going to use an image, just hammering it out. Here's the other image. This is going to be /images, and it is the clock, okay? So when we're looking at this, if we go to Figma really fast, you're going to see that we have this pattern, and there's this big space between them, okay? So we need a wrapper around these 2 items and a wrapper around these 2 items so that we can push or repel these away from each other, okay? A little bit of foreshadowing with my terminology. But here we are. We've done exactly that. We have block 1, block 2, and we can keep going, okay? After this, we have this this creation of Jules Wyvern, which is just an awesome name. I don't know if they made it up or not, but Jules Wyvern, okay? And here we are going to also wrap this in a p tag, okay? But I'm going to give this a class as well. It's going to be author, okay? And inside of here, we're going to have an image as well. So here's image, and that's going to be /images avatar, okay? Because we're doing that, and we're going to do something very similar with this that we're doing here with this image and text, right? It's beside each other right there. I also want to wrap this part, the text, in its own span, just so that we have a little bit more control on that. And then Jules Wyvern, we're going to wrap that in an A tag, okay? And the number sign, because it's not going anywhere. At this point, we should be able to save it, and it will reformat a little bit, but that is okay, okay? We aren't quite done with the markup, though. So everything is starting to take shape. It's weird that this span is kind of wrapping like this. I'm not sure why it does that. It doesn't really hurt anything, but there it is, okay? So wrapping all of this up into our div, and this is going to be our card content, okay? Because it's a card. We're using the card pattern, revisiting it. Here it is. We have that card content. And then around all of this, we're going to have our main tag of challenge wrapper. That's the one that I've been using, right? Just like this. And inside of there is going to be article of card, okay? Now, if you remember from my other videos, the second part, or I guess technically the first part of the card is the image, okay? And that goes right before card content, which I totally did wrong. Look at that. Let's go and fix that. That should be a div with class of card content. Just doing silliness here. Come on, card content. There it is, okay? So main class challenge wrapper, article, class card, div, class card content, okay? There's no tag of class, no tag of card content. Let's get that one right. Up here, we have picture, okay? This is going to be card image, right? We've done that one before. And inside of here, we have our image of /images, and it is equilibrium, because that's the NFT that we're talking about today, okay? Still not done though, okay? Still not done. Around the picture, I want to add another link, okay? And this is going to give me the opportunity to do that really interesting background, right? So right over here, right? When I hover over this, I'm going to be able to do this this cyan background, or overlay, I guess it is, not background. So getting that in, we have that. And then I think the last thing I need is right before author, there is an HR, okay? So with all that, we should be able to go over here and open our index.html, okay? And it looks like this. Now you'll notice that the image is, the avatar image is quite big, okay? Something to be aware of when you're doing this. But everything else kind of, it's already in there, right? The image is a link, the heading is a link, the author's name is a link. Everything is ready, and we can start to style this up. If I was doing this the regular way, this would be a good time to commit. I'm not going to commit in this video, but you definitely should. Okay, commit early, commit often. Okay, back to it. Back to our code right here. I did add in our link, so we should add that. That's going to be style.css. Excellent. Okay, and for this, I have a bunch of tokens. Okay, I have all of these colors. In fact, if you go and look right here, I'm going to drag this sideways, get rid of this. You'll notice that there is no black in here. The black is used for a very subtle shadow around the card. So I did have to add that. But then the cyan and the blues, they're all in there. The white, it's all good. We have our font family. We're going to go and get that in a few seconds. Font sizes. There's one place where the font size changes. It's technically something called caption if you are in the file. So the heading doesn't change and the body doesn't change. That's body. But all of this text down here, it's caption. And when you go to the smaller size, it changes by one whole pixel. So I've gone and used utopia.fyi to get that done. Here it is. Moving on, we have our font weights, our line heights, our spacing. Thankfully, all of our spacing is very nice, very easy to work with. There is some responsiveness to it. So I did use Utopia FYI again to change these, okay? So getting rid of this for a second. We have a space of 12 to 16 pixels. This is 16 to 24 pixels and 24 pixels to 32 pixels, okay? And that will come into play when we do a little bit of responsiveness. So again, trying to avoid the breakpoints, letting the browser decide for us. That's what I'm doing there. The radius is, yes, all the radius stuff. And then we set up some of our colors, okay? In fact, I think I'm missing one here. I totally am. I'm going to go and update it right now. There should be one in here for background light, okay? Just so that we have it. It can go anywhere in here, okay? I will use that a little bit later, but for now, we have our different colors, some for actual content, some for backgrounds and borders and stuff like that, okay? We will use them all. And then our 4 pieces of typography. So body, heading, caption, and caption bold, okay? And again, for our font sizes, there is some responsiveness in those 2 caption sizes, okay? Again, radius radius large, radius small, just to make that easier. There is our shadow with that black, right? So we are knocking it back to 9.53%. Very subtle shadow, but we don't want to forget things, okay? And then our max width, which is kind of small today, actually. It makes it feel very tall, okay? Our super simple reset, we can totally get into this, okay? Before that, we should go and grab our font. So back to the style guide, clicking on the link, taking us over here. We're going to get that font, get the embed code, copy, paste it back into our HTML right above the styles. So paste it, save that, and then coming back, we could copy this, but because of how I've set up my tokens, it's actually a lot of extra text that I'm just going to end up deleting. So it's easier for me just to go body and font, and that's going to be -- typography body, okay? So getting that in, we save it, and we can take a look. Let's see what happens. Now everything's starting to take shape, right? We've gotten rid of all of our margins, and everything is starting to go. This, let's bring this up. Can I? Why won't it? There we go. Just trying to resize it so that it actually fits within the screencast window. But here we are. Let's go get our defaults in, okay? So we aren't done with the body. We need a little bit more in here. For instance, we need color. Color is going to be that default content color, okay? And then our background color is going to be our default background color. Excellent. Right here, that H2 tag, we're going to get it. It's going to be font, typography, heading, yes. And I believe there is a color on that. So we're going to go and get something called knockout, okay? Content knockout. Knockout, for me, knockout means white, right? It's kind of like punching a hole through a piece of cardboard so you can see the light behind it, right? You're knocking it out. So in print, when we talk about knockout, we're talking about making it white, Okay. Moving on, we have the A tag. The A tag is a color. Okay. Again, that's going to be knockout, so we can go and grab that. And then the text decoration is none. Okay. While we're here, we're going to cover off hover. And if you really want, you can also do focus. No harm there. And both of these just have a color. Okay. It's going to be that primary, which is our cyan. Okay. So if we have this, we can refresh. Things are going to start taking shape. And look at that. Some of our colors are already starting to show up. Okay. Things are looking really good. We are still not done though. Okay. Because we have to take care of data and time. So let's go and do that really fast. Right down here, data gets two things really. Okay. So we need that font again. And this time we're going to go caption bold. Where is caption bold? Okay. So there's that. We also need color because the color needs to match the icon. Now, if we were doing inline SVG, I would totally set up a little bit of extra just to make sure that the SVG was always in lockstep. Today, I'm not going to do that. I have covered that in other videos, so please do go look, okay? But for now, we have our primary color, okay? And that's for our data, okay? Then we have our time. Time is just the font, okay? And we want it to be just caption. There's no bold on this one. So if we go and look now, things are getting a little bit smaller. We will do the alignment pretty quick. So stay with me, okay? What else do we need? We need HR, okay? HR is a weird one. It is 4 borders. So let's go and clobber those and then bring back just 1, okay? This is the top border if you're using logical properties. I've been trying. I'm still pretty not good at it, but I've been trying. Whoops, too much. Right here, --HR. I think I have yes, okay? So that's going to change that, make it a little bit more subtle. And the last thing that we need is image picture. We've seen this one before. We set a max width of 100% so that it doesn't grow to be bigger than the browser, right? And display block, which is going to make things look a little bit ugly for a second, but again, we'll come back to it, okay? Really good place to commit. Do that if you're following along and you're planning on posting this to Frontend Mentor. But for now, I'm moving on, okay? And what I'm moving on to is our compositions. Now, today I'm using just one more, okay? So I have flow, which we've seen before. That gives us our vertical spacing. Cluster allows us to do some horizontal alignment, right? Making sure that things are next to each other really nice. We'll talk about repel in a second. And then, of course, our challenge wrapper, which centers things up. In fact, if I save this right now, it will do exactly that. I did not need to click on the image. There we go. Okay. So it'll start to center up and look really nice, which is exactly what we want. Okay. Now, what about this repel? Because if you're looking, repel looks almost exactly the same as cluster. Okay. Except that this one is space between. So repel is going to push things apart. Cluster brings them together. Repel pushes them apart. And you might be asking, why do we have two of the exact same thing? Could we not just use cluster and set cluster justify to space between? The answer is yes. But clean code, okay? And when we're talking about clean code, we're talking about not only making it as lean as possible, but also making it as readable as possible. So in a few seconds, when we start to use repel, it will be very obvious where we're trying to bring things together and where we're trying to push them apart. Let me show you what that means, okay? So back over into our markup. And right near the top, we have card. Card is going to get some markup. It's going to be flow, okay? And then on card content, flow as well. And then down here, we have price. Now with price, we're going to use that repel, okay? And if you're reading through the markup, now it's very clear that the things inside of here are meant to push away from each other, as opposed to these two spans, right? We go and grab them, add a class, and inside of here we go cluster, okay? Because we want the image and the data and the image and the time to be next to each other, but we want the spans themselves to be pushed way apart, okay? And if we save this, we can go back, we can refresh it, and things are starting to take shape, okay? So yes, it is duplicate styles in several ways, but in the markup, it becomes very clear what the meaning of it is, what the intent of our styles are. And that to me is worth gold, right? It is so important. So I'm willing to have a little bit of duplicate styles in order to make my life easier later on. Okay. But I mean, hey, maybe we could just rename cluster and repel to something more useful. Or later on, if we get mix-ins inside of CSS directly, then we can do a little bit of cleanup there. For now, this is what I'm doing. Okay. I'm not actually done with the markup. Let's go back for a second. I think in author, if I remember correctly, this is also going to be cluster. Excellent. Okay. So now everything should be lined up. That image is huge. Let's take just 2.5 seconds to go and do something about it. So right over here, scrolling right down, dot author. I lied about 2.5 seconds, but stay with me here. There will be other things that we do with author, but for now, just the image, width of 33 pixels, height of 33 pixels, squared away, and there it is. It's looking really good. We could ship it out the door like this. It would look nice. Designer would complain, so let's keep going, okay? If you're following along, this is a good place to commit. Do that now. For me, I'm going to keep going, and we're going to get into card, okay? So right here, we have card. The card needs 5 things. 1, it needs a background color, okay? That's going to be the card background, so we're going to do that. It needs a border radius, which is radius large, okay? This is where we add our box shadow, okay? We were kind of holding off on that, but shadow default, that's what I called it, okay? And then padding. Padding is going to be space 300, but we also need padding block end, okay? So padding block end, this is a weird one, right over here. If you're looking at this box, let's grab it, okay? It's 24 pixels here, 24 on the side, 24 on the bottom. But if you look here, it's 24 on the side, but 32 on the bottom. So we need a little bit of extra spice just to make that work, okay? And we do that right here. Padding block end, dash space, and it is, what is it? 3 to 400, okay? So it's going to be 32 pixels in the large size, 24 pixels in the small size, and whoops, go into the right place, refresh it. Things are starting to take shape, right? Starting to look really, really good. We're not done. Let's go and take care of this image, okay? Jumping around, go into the code. So dot card underscore image, getting some styles in, okay? The image has a border radius as well. That is that radius small. So we're going to use that. And overflow hidden. We've seen that one before because if we add a radius to the container, but not the image, then the image is going to poke around our radius. So we need that overflow hidden just to make sure that everything is nice. And I keep jumping back to the Figma file like a silly person. Okay. While we're here, we're going to take care of that hover. Okay. And if you remember, let's bring this sideways just so we can see it. Okay. Our image, our picture, that card image is wrapped by the link. Okay. The link is not inside. The link should not be inside the picture element. It should be on the outside. Okay. So we need to do something. Could we go and write a space dot card image? Yeah, absolutely. But this is a great place where the nesting works in our favor. So we can go A has ampersand. And what that does is it says if the parent has the current item, then do something, right? So we're using the power of the language in our favor. If you were doing something like SAS, then you would probably follow a similar pattern, right? Where you're kind of going up and checking for something and then using that ampersand, okay? But inside of here, we're going to add a few little bits, display grid, because we are going to place things on top of each other. Place items, center, just to make sure that everything is squared away exactly where we need it. And then we move down, okay? And for this, we need every child item. There's only going to be two, right? There's going to be the main picture, and there's going to be a before, or sorry, an after, right? So a pseudo class. This will not catch the pseudo class, unfortunately, but pseudo classes are first class citizens with grid. So we can absolutely do this. We go ampersand after, okay? Just to make sure that we got it. And we set grid area, okay? We set up grid. We didn't actually specify anything. So in this instance, we really only have a grid of one container, one cell, okay? So we're going to use that to our advantage by going start at the left, start at the top, end at the right, end at the bottom, okay? And that's what that does, okay? So start at the left, start at the top, end at the right, end at the bottom, okay? And that takes care of that. So everything will line up, but we aren't done, okay? Because there's still more to add. What we need is that after, okay? So for the moment, we're just going to add it as this. We're going to take care of the hover in a second. Don't worry, stay with me. But ampersand, : after, content, it's the image, okay? So it's a URL. Let's go get that. Whoops, right here. Images equal, no, not equilibrium, sorry. View, jumping ahead. There we go, or jumping backwards, I guess. I was totally off on that one. But we have that image view SVG, and we are going to use it, okay? Background color is our hover. Exactly, brilliant. We have, what else here? We have the width, which I should also be using logical properties for. Shame on me, okay? Could do that now. That is inline size, right? There it is. And then block size. Whoops, come on. Block size, 100%. Excellent, okay? Border radius. So this is a weird one where the radius kind of wants to do its own thing. I don't know why, but just to make sure, let's go and make sure that it's all dialed in and buttoned up. Excellent, okay? And then from here, let's take a look really fast to see what we got. So if we refresh, that eyeball is right at the top left corner, okay? We want it to be basically right here in the middle, okay? We can do that with a new property. This might not work in all browsers, so double check, but we can use align content directly, which is really, really nice, especially when it gets to all browsers. It's just going to be so much easier because then if you're centering stuff, you won't need this, okay? You'll just need align content and you can get it done. Text align center and done, okay? Now we want this on the hover, so if we go right here to the ampersand : after, and right before it, we type hover. So now it's ampersand : hover : after. That is a bit of a mouthful, but at that point, we have our hover, okay? Looking really good, right? We have all these things hovering, all the colors are in. We just need to take care of some spacing on some various things and dial it in, okay? So let's go down. dot card underscore content so that we can do this. Okay. Now inside of here, we have two things that we need to take care of, and they're both going to use the similar piece of information. Okay. So the paragraph that comes after the H2, which is H2 plus anything, the whatever comes after the H2, we want that flow space to be something else. Okay. Don't forget the semicolon. Otherwise this is going to double up on me, but we want that to be 150. Specifically 150 to 200, which is 12 pixels to 16 pixels. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing, but instead of the H2, we are going to get the HR. Okay. And this is going to be 200 to 300. So that takes care of that. We can start to see things tighten up just a little bit. Maybe not. Did I miss something? Maybe I did something. Where is it? Come on. The paragraph is not playing in. I missed something. Hold on. What am I missing? I found it. I forgot an underscore in the markup. So the class should be card underscore underscore content, just like this. Save it. And now our styles for this should kick in. Let's go get rid of that. Refresh it. Everything's looking a little bit tighter. Okay. At this point, we only need a little bit more for our price to get this locked in and for our author. Okay. So let's go take care of those. First is the price right here. And on price, we need cluster space, just like this. That is going to be var of --100. Excellent. Okay, so bringing things closer together. They should only be about 8 pixels apart. Okay, and then of course flow space, just like this. Don't forget the semicolon. And inside of here is 200 to 300. So the flow space on price is a little bit more flexible, but should be okay. Okay, save it, and then finish up with author. Okay, which has flow space. Type it right, space, and that flow space is going to be var. Don't forget the semicolon, otherwise it's going to jump around on me. Space, come on, space 200. Okay, and typography. Okay, we haven't dealt with the author's font size, so we do that here, and that is just caption. Okay, just like this. At this point, we are close. Okay, what we're missing here is a border around this image, so let's go take care of that. Border, which is getting rid of all of the black and going dash border dash background. What is it? Oh, light, right? Light was our white. Okay, save it. That is absolutely not right because we did not apply a radius to this. Even though the image is a circle, we have not made the image itself a circle in markup. So we do that by going border radius of 50%, save it, refresh it, and we're done. Okay. At this point, everything is looking really good and really responsive too. If we bring up our dev tools, switch to responsive mode, and you'll see some things just start squeezing in and doing the thing. There's even some nice wrapping in here, right? I'm curious about this image size here. We'll take a look at that in a second, but it feels like the space on that cluster space is wrong. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick look at that right now. Get rid of this. Actually, sorry, I did want that, but I don't want the responsive mode. Let's go right here. Okay, so that image If we can bring this over, that image data. Did I spell cluster wrong? Why is it doing something funny here? Where is cluster space? Wow, I am really missing it today. Here we go. Oh, forgot another dash. Look at that. It was even hinting it to me. So now, there, okay? Very weird, just missing stuff left and right, but we should be there. We can go and find that image really fast. So up in designs, design desktop, open with my favorite tool here, CleanShot X, crop it down, just like this, and then pinning it, making it 50%, going back to our browser, and there it is. Pretty close, right? There's a little bit of funkiness in some of the text. I suspect it was updated again. This is not one of their newer challenges, so fonts change, right? Fonts change. That would be a good discussion with the designer if we had access to that. But at this point, we have done it, okay? And we did it kind of quickly, but hopefully not so much that you couldn't understand. We locked in again that really solid card pattern, right? Just making sure that that's all there. We even added a little bit so that we could have a hover state just on the image, right? Just right here. And then all of our card content, right? And not too much special there. The repel, again, if you wanted to, you could use cluster and go and use one of those variables. But I think being explicit in the markup makes this work. And hopefully you do too, okay? Which leads to the question, do you, right? Hit me up in the comments if you absolutely hate that I did that. Tell me what you like, what you didn't like. If there was something that surprised you, like the data tag, right? Very useful. You might see that come up in a few of my future videos. But for today, this is it. And we were able to do that very, very quickly, okay? So just like that, we got all the shadows, completely responsive. No breakpoints, right? No media queries because we're using that utopia.fyi, which is awesome. On that note, yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. And as always, like, subscribe, right? I like to see people doing that because it lets me know where you're at, okay? But mostly, I will see you in the next one.